It's taken just over a week and up to match number 10 for this home advantage myth to be busted. Kolkata Knight Riders, traveling away from home, have just won in Bengaluru. Um, th- Bangalore's fortress, the Chinnaswamy Stadium, which is not really a fortress because they don't win that well at home, anyways. But it's taken a pretty one-sided result for Kolkata to seal their place on that table. Now they're in second spot behind Chennai. Um, when you score 182 at Chinnaswamy, it's always going to be difficult to defend it. Sarvesh, one-sided game, and we know the history between these two sides seems to suggest the same, doesn't it?
Yes, I was looking at the numbers. If you can, now this table it tells us about the last data from 2019. So I have compiled this list from 2019 to 2023. So before today's game, the average winning margin in terms of runs was 46.4, which is quite huge in a T20 game. That's huge. When you lose by 20 or 10 or 15 runs, that's considered as a close margin, and anything above 40 is considered as massive. An average number of overs played to chase that target was 16.2. That means, on an average, a team batting second was chasing the target. If they were winning that match, if the team chasing the target, if they were winning it in 16.2 overs. So now, if you look at today's numbers, KKR chased that target down in 16.5 overs. So again, the same trend has continued. It has been a pretty one-sided game, and if you're losing, if you're considering the loss before those last 2-3 overs, then that means it is also going to take a toll on your net run rate. So that has also happened with RCB today. So yeah, so just the trend that I wanted to highlight. It has continued.
In layman's terms, what this means is if you're a neutral supporter and you're hoping to watch a close contest between these two sides, do not go to the stadium to watch this because this is going to be a one-sided effort. And as you can see, they've got 5 wins each on a head-to-head record, which means they also, it's not like, one team's had the better of the other or something like that. They share it, but when they do share it, it's quite a boring game to watch anyways. Let's have a quick look at what happened today, though, and try and see if we can decipher what went right or wrong.
So RCB started so KKR won the toss. They decided to bowl first, and RCB, when they started, uh, it was Faf and Virat, as usual, they opened, and I think Harshit Rana bowled a really good spell at the start, and if you look at that spell from Harshit, I think he was bowling. I think he realized it pretty quickly that this pitch is not going to allow him to bowl with that kind of a freedom which he normally wants, that kind of a pace which he normally bowls at. It was not going to happen for him. So he was smart enough. He realized that, and I think he started varying the pace very early. In fact, all the KKR bowlers, they were varying their pace quite a lot. I saw the stat that I think KKR bowled majority of their deliveries as slow ones. I think more than 50%, and RCB bowled close to 25 or 26% deliveries as slow ones. So I think that's where the game was decided. And once Faf was dismissed, one thing I liked about today's batting lineup about RCB is that they pushed Cameron Green up in top three. Now we have been discussing this that Cameron Green should be batting in top order. I think today they just did the right thing. They pushed him up, and I think he played some good shots. And yeah, I think that's the best place for him to bat. And then that inning started, and Virat was anchoring as usual from one end. He was scoring quick runs from one end, and that allowed Green was playing with some freedom. Virat was going from his end. His power play batting was superb. I mean, we saw this last year as well. Whenever he opens, he does this. He starts in a very very good manner. He pulls off those good looking shots, and he bats with proper cricketing shots and at that strike rate. So that's a phenomenal. Again, he's the top scorer for RCB. And what do you think, Rahul? I wanted to ask you, what do you think now? Once Cameron Green was dismissed, I think they wanted somebody to help Virat, but I think Glenn Maxwell was dropped twice, but I think he still could not go above 30. So what do you think about that RCB middle order, about Rajat Patidar and Glenn Maxwell? I think it is not clicking for them this year.
Yeah, I guess there are a couple of things to talk about in that scorecard. It's 3 games now, and they really haven't got what they want from Faf du Plessis at the top. So that's the issue number one. He is the captain, and we always speak about this that when you make an overseas player your captain, you have to play him in the 11. And then when he's not scoring runs, it becomes a bit of a problem, doesn't it? So that is an issue that they need to address. The second issue, obviously, is with Rajat Patidar. We've seen throughout that England series that he was struggling in the first 3 games. Again, he's hardly given them anything with the bat. Um, I also feel that because their top order is so strong in the sense that Virat normally gives you runs and he's going to bat long, which means Rajat Patidar, he was coming in at 3, but now they've shifted Cameron Green. When he comes in after Glenn Maxwell at 5, and to get going, you need a player
Yeah.
who's going to start going from ball number 1.
Yeah.
Is Rajat Patidar that kind of a player? Not really. So maybe there is a Shreyas Prabhudesai sitting there who is that kind of a player who can go from ball 1 because they don't like bringing in Dinesh Karthik early as well. So either that or we saw in the last game that Mahipal Lomror came right down the order and really gave the innings a boost and took his side home. So somebody like him who can come in and get going from ball 1. Um, Look, it's a hard one for Patidar because he had that one good season with RCB that brought him into the limelight. Then he's had a stellar domestic season, but right now the form is just not there, and I think that is not just affecting him, but the team as a whole is also being. So they might have to look at some sort of replacement over there. One last thing on RCB's batting effort, and I wanted to ask you this: is there are two ways of looking at Virat Kohli's innings. I mean, he's batted for 59 balls, which is pretty much half of the innings. He's given you 83 today with the bat. That's not 50% of the
Yeah.
runs, though.
Yeah.
When normally you bat 50% of the balls, um, you should be giving you at least 50% or more of the score, but that's not happened today. But and that strike rate of 140, we've always seen Virat Kohli score at around that 138, 140 kind of strike rate. But is today's innings a reflection of what was happening around him? Because as you said, he was great in the power play. I thought initially in the middle overs also he was great because he got the slog sweep out against the spinner, and he was really trying to kind of keep that momentum going. But that push at the end that you need in an innings like this to take it, the kind of push that we saw from Riyan Parag, who batted only 45 deliveries to give you 83 yesterday, that push never came. And that push thankfully came from Dinesh Karthik towards the end. But Virat never really had that one big over or, a kind of a flurry of boundaries towards the end. How would you read that innings of his?
I think he's the way he started. I think it was a typical Virat Kohli start. Uh, he got those critical boundaries inside power play, and he was taking on Mitchell Stark, the opposition's primary. He's the key bowler, so he took him on. But I think uh, a lot of credit should be given to the way Anukul Roy bowled inside that power play. I think that was critical. And but after power play, I think he was batting. He was batting decently. He took Sunil Narine on, and I think in over number 9 and over number 10, they scored only 5 runs. Those overs were bowled by Varun Chakravarti and Andre Russell. But I think after that over, somebody had to kick on from there. And I think even that push, that initial push also came from Virat, because even Glenn Maxwell was struggling at that time. He's after that we saw he couple of catches were dropped of him. So I think dropped for him. So I think he was the only one who got going, and when things were looking difficult again, Virat was the only one who started accelerating. In that, I think 11th over they scored 17 runs, and Virat hit that six, and that's where their quick phase started. So again, he was the one who gave them that push. Then after this, Maxwell played a few shots. Then he got dismissed. Anuj Rawat came in. He got dismissed. I think they lost a lot of wickets in cluster. I think that sort of derailed his tempo. But I think he's not getting the right support from his teammate. I think because I think at one point after that Maxwell's wicket, he must have realized that he now has to bat through and he has to make up for the lost deliveries. So I think that's where I think game went slightly away from RCB. I don't think he had any other option to bat till the 20th over, because we have seen this we have seen him doing the same thing in the past. But I think today the support never came. I think they expected they needed somebody like Anuj Rawat or Dinesh Karthik or Rajat Patidar to do that for them. That did not happen. Thankfully, Dinesh Karthik did that. But I think a lot of credit should also be given to the way Andre Russell bowled. I mean, when your premier fast bowler Mitchell Starc, he was going for I think he went for 47 runs again today. Now he has gone for around 100 runs in last 2 matches in his 8 overs. So I think a lot of credit should also be given to the way Russell bowled. And again, Harshit Rana, he's also he had his figures might look that he has considered at 10 runs per over, but I think he was phenomenal. And the way these guys bowled at the back end, I think that set the tempo for KKR's batting as well in the second innings. So I think Virat did a fair job. Yeah, his strike rate is on a lower side today, but I think he needs somebody to step up, from some of the other batters. Last season it was Faf. He was doing it pretty regularly. He scored more than 700 runs. Maybe this season he wants somebody, maybe Cameron Green or Glenn Maxwell to do that job. So I think once that starts happening, I think we'll see a lot better numbers from Virat.
I guess the other way of looking at things is if you take his contribution out of the 182, then you've got nothing left, have
Exactly.
you? So, yeah, that's another way of looking at things as well. You've already touched on the bowlers, but let's just have a quick word on Mitchell Starc. The 20 crore plus buy from KKR. 2 games in a row now, he's been taken to the cleaners. I was watching another podcast yesterday, which our friends from CricBuzz do, and the very, very knowledgeable Joy Bhattacharya, and trust him to come up with these numbers, made a comment that every delivery that he bowls is worth about 6 lakh Indian rupees. Every delivery that Mitchell Starc bowls is worth 6 lakh Indian rupees.
Wow.
And he's bowled 48 of those till now, and for nothing to show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we all know that he's a great fast bowler, but his T20 credentials, did they deserve a price tag of 20 crores plus is what the question mark is.
To be honest, even I think KKR must be knowing that that is not the right price for him. But I think when we look at the smaller auctions, we don't really look at the price tag because a lot depends on the auction dynamics and the way teams look at players. Is basically they are trying to get the players that they want the most, so they don't look at the price. They just try to fill the gaps, try to fill the holes which they have in their team. And to do that, sometimes they have to shell out a bit more than they would have imagined. So I think that's the kind of dynamics this smaller auction has. I think even SRH spent around 20 crores on Pat Cummins, but they needed that captain, so they had no other choice. So they just went all in, and they just got him for whatever price they had to pay. So I think it was a similar case there. We spoke about this in our preview that KKR did not have any other experienced fast bowler in that lineup. They have Harshit Rana, and they have Vaibhav Arora with them. So these are two young Indian fast bowlers. So they added an experienced fast bowler, who just won the World Cup for his team. So I think that was their thinking. I'm sure Mitchell Starc must be passing on some valuable information to these young guys, and they must be getting a lot of help from him. So this is what I'm assuming. But again, this price tag, I think it doesn't make a lot of sense. But it has a different meaning. I don't know what will happen next year if it goes to mega auction. Then it's almost certain that that he won't be retained for that price. So I think it was a short-term punt for 1 year, which they had to take, and they took it on him. It looks like it is not coming out as of now, but we never know. Maybe he could do something better in the next few games, because his team is winning. That gives him that additional margin to make that comeback. If his team was, let's say, if KKR had lost this game, then he would have probably come under a lot of pressure from the next game. So that's one good thing that about him.
Yeah, that's totally agree. So 182 for 6 is what RCB ended with. KKR obviously chasing that. When you get 47 of 22 balls from Sunil Narine at the top of the order, it's an absolute bonus, and you can, that innings will put you on track to chase down a big total with ease. Um, this is kind of a makeshift kind of a situation where they've put Phil Salt, Sunil Narine together. We know last year what happened and how many opening combinations they gave us. I think it was about seven different
Yeah.
opening combinations. But they've gone with Sunil Narine, and in his second outing, he has delivered. But a lot of credit for that inning should go to the RCB bowlers for feeding it on a platter to him. Do you think?
Yes, I also look at one critical number. Sunil Narayan's average against RCB and against the other teams. His average against RCB was in mid 30s. I'm not sure what's the timeline. I think it must be for the entire IPL career. But with against other teams, it was it was around 15 or less than that. So I think he likes batting against RCB, and I think this one thing we have seen this from Gambhir before, that he likes to do with Sunil Narayan. That if the target is just about par, then you can gamble with Sunil Narayan at the top, because even if he plays a few dot balls, his team is not under a lot of pressure. If the target is, let's say, 210, and if it doesn't work out for Sunil Narayan at the beginning, if he plays 4-5 dot balls, then his partner will start feeling that pressure. But in game like today, where target is just about par, where they can afford to send him up, they can try to gamble on him, and if that gamble works out like today, then look, the game is done. Then the game is done. They don't have to worry about the next about the next 14, 15 overs, because he will finish the game in first 5, 6 overs, exactly what he did today. So I think it was a good strategy. Mainly because the target was just about par. If it was like 200-ish target, then I don't think they would have done this. But again, it worked out for them. So it was a good strategy.
Must be something about left-handers and Chinnaswamy Stadium and run chases, because I was there at the ODI World Cup for the game between the Black Caps and Pakistan. New Zealand put on 400 in that game, and it was a rain-affected game in which Fakhar Zaman, the left-hander from Pakistan, absolutely destroyed the Black Caps with some sublime, phenomenal, amazing hitting. Some of the sixes that he hit that night were really long and hard. But two other left-handers today. We've already spoken about Sunil Narine, who loves the ball being pitched up to him, takes his front foot out of the way, whacks it. He's got enough power, and he's got the gift of the hand-eye coordination, which is so important in cricket. Just looking at his bat swing, I think he'd be a phenomenal golfer as well if he does play golf. But the other left-hander that came in after him, Venkatesh Iyer, just carried on from where Sunil Narine had left off, and some sublime hitting from him too. Venkatesh Iyer, we've seen one season in the IPL when he took the IPL by storm, broke down the door with his runs and his wickets, and then made an India debut as well. But then there was a bit of a lull. He went through a bit of a rough phase, and now seems to have come back again. But some of the shots he was playing today, just phenomenal hitting, wasn't it?
Yeah. You were mentioned about his debut season. I think he played only around 6 or 7 matches, and after that there was a mega auction, and in that auction, KKR actually retained Venkatesh Iyer, but they could not or did not, I don't know the exact reason, but they did not go with Shubman Gill. Instead, they went with Venkatesh Iyer. That also tells the kind of faith that management had in him, and they still have. Like you said, it was a very good innings. Last season, we saw him scoring that 100 against Mumbai Indians. This season, he was looking like he was struggling a bit in first 2 games, but today I think he made up for that. Somebody had to carry on with that momentum, and I think he was that guy to do that once they lost Phil Salt and Sunil Narayan. So I think somebody had to do that. He did that. I think now I think he's some player who will start slow, but once he gets going, I think you'll see him scoring good amount of runs on a consistent basis. So I think his season has just started today, and I think we'll see a lot of runs getting scored by him.
It's not something new that we've learned today, but I think one thing that the RCB bowlers definitely learned today was you don't bowl full to Sunil Narine and you don't bowl short to Venkatesh
Venkatesh
Iyer,
Iyer. Yeah.
because one guy hits you down the ground and the other guy can really play the pull shot really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Probably the only positive for the RCB bowlers
Yeah.
in that run chase were the figures of Vijay
Vijay
Kumar
Kumar
Vishak.
Vishak. Yeah.
He's come into the side as an impact sub. He's had a fantastic season in domestic cricket, and with a lot of overs behind him. So just showing his worth, 4 overs, 1 for 23 in a 182 run chase, is great going.
Yeah, I mean he was the only bright spot for them when that second inning started, because I think we expected a lot better performance from Mohammad Siraj. He's now India's senior pro. I think RCB fans must have expected a lot more from him, but I think it was a wicket where I think Harshit Rana read that wicket pretty well at the beginning, even Andre Russell. But for some reason, Siraj and Alzari Joseph, these guys, they just refused to bowl those slow ones at the start. I mean, they stuck with what has been working for them. They stuck with their stock ball, which was the pace up ball, which they were bowling in 130s, high 130s and 140s. But I think probably they should have done something about that at the beginning of their innings. But it did not happen. But Vijay Kumar Vishak, he bred that beautifully. He was bowling, he was mixing his lengths, he was mixing his pace up, he was doing everything correctly. I think just what RCB wanted. And if not for those figures, this loss could have looked a lot bigger. Maybe KKR could have chased this down in maybe around 14 overs. So that would have caused a bigger loss in that net run rate column. So I think he has done a very good job. I think I see a case for him to start next few game. Maybe we'll discuss what they need to do in their bowling lineup next. But I think he did he did a very good job. And Mayank Dagar also, his figures are also looking good. In that, I think he has done a fair job. When he came to RCB, none of us, actually felt that it was a good trade, where we saw Shahbaz going to SRH and he coming to RCB. But I think he has done his bit. He has bowled well. He has bowled those economical tight overs, picked up the wicket. So I think these two were the bright spots.
Couple of questions from me on the bowling effort. Two left-handers going hell for leather in Sunil Narine and Venkatesh Iyer, but we didn't see Glenn Maxwell today. And is it to do with the fact that it's a six-hitting ground, it's a small ground, and they don't like the spinners on there, or is there anything else there?
I think I just felt that they didn't want Maxwell to bowl two right-handers because KKR had at least one right-hander. They almost had left-right pair combination for the entire innings, because when Sunil Narine got out, Venkatesh Iyer came in. When Salt got out, Shreyas Iyer came in. So I think they tried to maintain that, and I think maybe they were reluctant to bowl Glenn Maxwell against Shreyas Iyer. I think that was the thinking, or Field Salt, because but I personally don't agree with what they did. Maybe they could have bowled Glenn Maxwell earlier inside power play. In fact, they could have also bowled Mayank Dagar, because the score was 3 overs 46 for no loss, and the seamers were going out of the park. So I think they could have slowed it down. They could have brought Glenn Maxwell in for 1 or 2 overs in the power play, or they could have brought Mayank Dagar in. But I think that did not happen. I'm not sure about the thinking. What were they thinking? I don't know. But they should have probably tried this.
I guess the only other option, and I was sitting there watching the game, I was thinking, geez, they would have loved to have Lockie Ferguson in today. Run and fast, the perfect kind of bowler to bowl to Sunil Narine, who doesn't like express pace and doesn't like the ball going to his under his armpits or his throat.
But I think credit should be given to the way he batted. Alzari was bowling him at 140, 145 to Sunil Narine as well, but it was looking very comfortable there. So I think it was his day. I think he could have smashed any bowler in the world today. That was the kind of mood he was in right now. He was in today.
I just think that when you got to get him, you got to get him early.
Yeah.
And I think Alzari came first change. If they'd started with Alzari in the first over and tried to kind of bounce him out then, because once he's got a couple in the middle of the bat, then he's a different player.
Yes.
So that's probably the only thing that I could see there. But all in all, convincing performance by the KKR batters and bowlers, and one that they'll be very happy about. what does this mean in terms of the league table?
Yeah. Before we move on to league table, I wanted to ask you this question: what
Okay.
what are the changes that you think RCB should do in their bowling lineup? Because I think their batting looks settled, but there is a lot to think about their bowling. So I think, what do you think about those changes?
I think from let's go with the fact that if they're batting first, then they'll have four bowlers in
Yeah,
there, and I think those four bowlers, uh, based on today's performance with what Vishak has shown us, he definitely should be a starter.
yeah,
I think Yash Dayal has shown us enough with the new ball to make sure that he's one of them as well. So that's two bowlers. I think the overseas fast bowler, and I've got my lovely black caps bias here, but I would still go with someone like Lockie Ferguson instead of Alzari Joseph. So those would be my three quicks. With uh, we've always said, that they don't have the kind of luxury of Indian
yeah,
spinners that some of the other teams have. And Mayank Dagar, to give him credit,
yeah.
has really done well in those first two to three games that we've seen him. So
Yes.
I'd continue with him. So that would be number four. Their fifth bowler is made up of Cameron Green
Yeah.
and
Glenn
Glenn
Maxwell.
Maxwell in
Yeah.
parts. So that's number five. But if they want someone else, then who else do they have in the squad that could possibly come in place of?
They
They've got
have,
Mohammad Siraj.
yeah,
So
yeah,
no,
Mohammad
we've got
Siraj.
Mohammad Siraj. So that's so apart from maybe just getting Vishak in and changing Aldari Joseph for
To
Lockie
Lockheed. Yeah.
Ferguson, that's pretty much the only difference I can see. Apart from that, there's nothing else they can do. If
And,
they get a really ranked turner,
yeah.
then
Spinner.
Karan Sharma comes in, the leg spinner. But apart from that, no,
Right.
I don't see any other
I think they
options for them.
can.
They don't have a lot of options.
Yes, exactly. They have just two front lines, spinners, and then the domestic players. I think, in my opinion, what they can do is they can look to get Reese in. But the problem with that, they will have then two left-handed bowlers, Jess Dayal and Reese with the new ball. So again, that might become one-dimensional. So I think, again, the problem with Reese is that. But I think if Reese gets in, they can start with Reese Siraj. Then they probably can, look to play Vishak in place of Yash Dayal, and who will again then control that middle over space. Now, if Vishak is controlling that middle over space, then they can look at other options as well in their bowling. They probably don't need Alzari as well, so they can probably go with another maybe Akashdeep as well, because they have a lot of good Indian domestic seamers, even they don't have enough domestic spinners. So I think there is Akashdeep sitting out. Maybe try to get him in instead of Alzari. Play Ristopli. Play Vishak instead of Yash Dayal if you feel Ristopli is starting, or if you feel they don't need another left armer. I think they can do a lot of tinkering with their bowling, with their fast bowling, and I think they will do that after this game. They will probably rethink and will have another strategy.
Perfect. Yeah. What does this mean to the league standings now? If we have a quick look, um, right. So it's CSK at the top because of that stellar win that they had. I think it was a 63 run margin in their last game. That kind of boosts their net run rate to 1.9 and takes them top of the table. Kolkata joining them in second place there, with Rajasthan in third because of their net run rate. Bengaluru in sixth place, but they've also played the extra game
Yeah,
than all the other sides. So they will be sweating a bit there because depending on how the results go, they could be right down at the bottom of that order
yeah,
if Delhi, Mumbai, and Lucknow actually manage to win their games.
right.
Um, yeah, so possibly, I won't say it's alarm bells yet, but they need to find, when you look at teams sometimes and you get the feeling I get from this Royal Challengers Bengaluru side is that they just are short of a gallop.
Yeah,
They're not quite there. They need to find their best 11, and they need some of their players to really step up and deliver for what they've been picked to do.
yeah,
Unless that happens, this is could be a really long and
yeah.
arduous season
Agreed.
for Bengaluru.
Yeah, I mean, this
Yeah.
last season, despite not having Rajat Patidar in that 11, I think they were looking great. I think this time they do not have. They have Rajat Patidar and they have other bowlers as well. But I think I don't know. I mean, that balance. I think I don't see that balance in their starting 11 right now. They'll. I think they need to find the right 11. I don't think they have found that right 11. I think they will have to work that out. I think that's the task RCB
Ab-
management will have.
Absolutely. Who have we got tomorrow? We've got two games tomorrow, the
Yes.
Super Saturday,
Yeah.
as we call it.
Yeah.
So I
Lucknow
think
and
we've
Punjab.
got Punjab Kings playing LSG.
Yeah, that's one game. And I think the
Yeah.
second
And
game,
the
what do we have?
second game,
We have Gujarat and SRH. No,
Gujarat and SRH. SRH, obviously, after that phenomenal win
no, we
against the
have.
Mumbai
In
Indians.
fact, we have only one game tomorrow, and we have two games on Sunday.
Oh,
Yeah,
two on Sunday.
yeah,
Okay, so it's going to be a Super Sunday, just one on Saturday.
yeah.
Makes life a little bit easier for people like me living far, far away in New Zealand, which means I don't have to stay up all night. I can actually wake up in the middle of the night and and watch game and talk about it. So yeah, that's all from us for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and also like us on all the other social media handles that we have. We are on Twitter, we are on Insta, and we are on YouTube at this stage. So do give us a like. Thank you, Sarvesh, for your time as always, and for all the graphics that you present to us. And we shall be with you same time tomorrow to bring you all the analysis of game number 11, which is between LSG and Punjab. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching.